Hello there, everyone. Today, I wanted to talk about the art of finding external email lists. Now, some of you might say, well, Donna, we don't need external email lists. We've got a great house list or a house database, and that is fantastic. But what if you want to reach new people? What if you want to grow that house list and make it even larger? You need to look at external email lists. And it's not as easy as just typing in, okay, I need an email list of CEOs in this industry. No. And this is where the art of finding external email lists is going to come in, because we all know that email marketing is so important because it is a direct message that is sent to your target audience with a message with talking about challenges or goals they're trying to reach that will speak directly to them. And that is what's so wonderful about email. And email is also great if you've got a time sensitive offer. I don't care what anyone says. This is the best channel to use, email marketing. But it's no good if your email is not going to the right people. So today I wanted to talk about that art of finding great external email lists. So the first thing is, why external email lists? And we talked about that because maybe your house list, you want to reach additional people. You want new people. And so you're going to need an external email list to do that. You have to watch when you go looking for external lists. There's some legal things you should always watch for. One, never ever use an email list that is not opted in, meaning that the individual, Donna Peterson, has not opted in to getting a third-party message. So that's the first thing. Make sure any list that you use is opted in. The next thing is you must make sure that the email lists that you look at are compliant. Whether it's CAMSPAN or GDPR, they've got to be compliant with those regulations. You don't want to use files that aren't compliant, because that is when your domains can get blacklisted, which means you cannot use it. Messages you send with that domain will not be delivered. And it's very hard sometimes to get your domain off a blacklist. So make sure that any email lists you look at, they are opted in and compliant. The next thing is you've got to look for reliable sources when getting these email lists. When I talk about reliable sources, especially in the space of B2B, you want to look at industry-specific publications. They're a great source for files, especially when you're able to pick industry-specific magazines that can reach your specific audience. What you have to do is, when you find those publishers, and it can be publishers or conference companies are another great place to go for lists, because those people, the attendees, sometimes are paying $2,000, $3,000 to attend conferences. You know for a fact they're in that industry, because if they're paying that kind of money, they're interested in information about that sector. So you look at publications or conferences when you're looking at lists, and you want to whittle them down. What you want to look at is, when you look at those reliable sources, there are a few questions you want to ask the vendors to vet them to see if they're right for you. One thing is, how are they put on the list? Are they actually buying or receiving the magazine? Did they inquire? Did they just sign up for a free offer, like a webinar? What is it that gets them on the list? So you have to know the source, so what magazine it might be, but then how do they get on the list? Then, once they're on the list, how often does the list owner clean and update the file? There are publishers out there that have been around for hundreds of years. I wouldn't say hundreds of years. I know 100 years or 70 years or 95 years. You have to make sure that they're constantly cleaning and updating the file, especially after COVID when so many people changed positions within the same company, or maybe left the company, changed industries. So you want to make sure the information they have on file is cleaned and updated so that they've gotten rid of all the old records of people who aren't there. But if Donna Peterson's job title changed from let's say executive vice president to CEO, that they change that on their database so that you know for a fact you're now dealing with a CEO, not an executive vice president. You want to make sure that the information on the file is accurate, but then going even more granular on the individual is, yes, title and industry is nice, but if they have the information, get this through my head, have the information like what type of equipment are they looking for? Are they going to buy equipment within the next 6 months? What are some of their problems or challenges? How would they describe their company? These are more granular questions that publishers or conference companies can sometimes ask of their attendees or subscribers so that they can give them better content. But for you, you're able to whittle down their list so that you can reach your exact target audience. So that's when you can go through and you can Google magazines. You can ask ChatGPT even, what is a great magazine, industry magazine to reach chief scientists in specific laboratories, and it'll come up with some publications, which is wonderful. But then you have to go do your legwork by calling and speaking to the editor or publisher directly, and then also looking at their media kit. When you look at the media kit, that's when you really can get a feel for a publication in regards to the topics that they're going to discuss. And then they usually give a subscriber breakdown. It's usually a pie chart showing, what percentage is this title, what percentage is this industry, and then even what geographical area are they at? It gives you a good idea of, are these my people? If they're my people, then that's the type of list you want to use. Now, when you're looking for external lists that are such high quality industry specific lists, they are usually rented, which means you send them your materials, the HTML, your subject line, your from line, and then they deploy the email for you. After the blast goes out, they should send you tracking. And with the tracking, you can usually see, what the balances were, your opens, your click rate. Try to get as much information as possible from the list owner about how the promotion or the email worked, because this gives you an idea. Is it something you should do again or should you not? One of the things I like to always calculate is, what is your cost per click? I love that. If you have a cost per click, and then if you can tie it into your back end information to find out how many of those clicks actually converted to being buyers. What I will warn is when people sometimes look at their opens and clicks, they'll discount lists if maybe the click rate is low. But in one case I had with a client, the click rate was low, and I would never recommend the list again, except when we looked at the back end information, it was a huge buyer. This buyer bought lots of equipment. And so we're not going to eliminate that list. We will use that list again because it produced such a high volume buyer. And that's when you've got to tie in that back end information. The other thing to consider is, When you're doing email marketing, and we all know one-off emails are not going to yield you all the sales you want. You can't anymore. The marketplace is so full. You've got to make sure that you are just consistently getting your messages out there with great branding. And if you can, complement that email blast with other channels. So, social media posts, or doing a banner on a newsletter, or maybe sponsoring a webinar, whatever it might be, you can talk to some of these list owners and they can put a nice, attractive package together for you that will help you get your brand out there. It will help you with the consistent messaging, really move them along from being a lead to being a buyer. It's not about just plummeting people once and getting all the sales you need. It's all about building relationships. And the best way to build relationships is when you can reach one specific audience with a message that will resonate with them because you're talking directly to them about challenges or goals that they might have that you can help them with. I really hope this helps you because there is an art to finding external email lists. It does take a lot of time, and you've got to do a lot of research on the different list owners to figure out the history. There's a lot of history when you go back of publishers. Maybe they consolidated, maybe one bought out another, maybe the publication changed names. Looking at the selects, also when you have like ourselves being a list broker, and there's lots of list brokers out there, we have historical data in-house that shows like which lists work, which ones haven't worked, which ones dropped off, but which ones picked up. You need all that historical information on the tracking so that you can determine if it is a good file or not, and if it is worth the cost that they're asking. Some lists out there are crazy. They want you to pay these crazy high prices, but with our historical tracking information, we know they're not worth that money because they don't even garner maybe a 1% click-through rate. So this is all the information you got to take in, and that way you can plan out a nice, good email marketing strategy where you will be able to get unique new leads to put into your funnel so that you can nurture them to being buyers. One other quick thing before we leave. Some vendors even will give you the click-through information. They feel that if someone clicked through, that you now are allowed to have access to that email address. And so they give that to you. And that's another way that you can add them to your database so that you can nurture them. Because sometimes people are not ready to buy right then and there. It might be something where it might be 6 months down the road or a year down the road, especially when you're talking about large pieces of equipment. You know, not everyone is looking for that one piece of equipment right then and there, but 6 months from now, they might be. And that's why you've got to keep your branding out there. You've got to always educate them on your marketing, your services, how you can help them with their jobs, show them that you care. And that will start with building that relationship. They see that you really care and you understand their industry, which will build trust. And then they'll become loyal customers of yours year after year. I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions about the art of finding good quality email lists, please feel free to reach out to me at dpeterson, Peterson, at worldinnovators.com. I guess that's pretty bad there. For a minute, I forgot what I was saying, but that is the email address. You can reach me there, or you can always comment below and I'll get back to you right away. Have a great day. Bye.